focus on hitting your goals in every area of your business. Remember, the universe rewards the bold. A leader has to take the risks.
So welcome to Wealth on the Beach podcast. My name is Daniel Alonzo, where we bring you some of the greatest minds in the world. We're talking money, business, health, and wealth. And we have today one of the total studs of the lending business. And this is Mr. C-Roc Ciorrocco. He's a CEO of Building People, Inc. He is a performance coach, author, dynamic, public speaker, visionary, and thought leader. He's been featured by Yahoo Finance as one of the top business leaders to follow in 2020 and is on a mission to build people. At his core, he's obsessed with success and helping others achieve great success. You know, C-Roc is a guy who had a fire lit in him at an early age. That fire led him to inspire others to see the greatness inside of themselves, using past life events as fuel to the fire. And so, hey, C-Roc, what's going on, big dog? How are you, man?
What's up, Daniel? Good to see you again, man. Been a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. And so what do you mean by like using the fuel to fuel your fire? What does that mean?
So this is my dominating concept and rule that I use in my life, and I teach other people this. But really what it comes down to is if you have a goal or target to get to, accomplishing things, having encouraging people around you, having successes doesn't stop you. None of that stops you. So let's find out, okay, what are the things that are stopping you? What are the things that are blocking you? Well, setbacks, letdowns, negativity, people. Well, what if there's a way where we could eliminate all that? And now you don't have any blocks. And so the concept is to turn all setbacks, letdowns, negativity, and take it and convert it into rocket fuel for your future to get you to where you're going. And what I always talk about is all this negative stuff. If we can stop carrying it in our trunk and weighing us down and put it in our tank, we become unstoppable. And I created a new word the other day. I was doing a video and I'm like, do you want to be unstoppable? Do you want to be undestructible instead of indestructible? So then the video was so good, I didn't want to redo it. So then when I posted it, I put new word, undestructible. And I think I was going to start a clothing line, by the way. And I think I'm going to name it Undestructible.
Very
so
cool.
There's a little story behind it. So it's that concept and what it's done for me in my life. I've been around a lot of broken people, man. You know, I felt like my dad gave up on me when I was 11. I can get into that story more if you'd like. But as I've gone, there's been people that take advantage of you or don't believe in you or shoot you, whatever the case is. I've always taken it and not let it keep me down just like a pit bull almost, where I just keep going. And I became 3 years, I became aware of this rocket fuel concept. And I'm like, man, this is something powerful. This works. And I got to share it with people. So that's where it came from. And I'll get into more of it.
So Mike, do you think that, when you talk about that, it's almost like, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but is it kind of like having a tiny little chip on your shoulder in a way that kind of says like, tell me I can't do it, right?
Absolutely.
Tell me I'm a piece of shit, right? Tell me I'm not worthy of having a great life and great success, and I'll fucking prove you wrong, man. Is that a little bit of
yeah?
It
definitely has to do with that. Look, there's no new concepts really out there. It's just how they're framed. And I need to frame this a way for some people to understand it. And this is very easy to grasp. Now, the difference between that though, is I preach and teach proactiveness in this concept. So in other words, if you have a chip on your shoulder, it's because like somebody already did something to you or they're doing it right then. My thing is that I want to be aware of it ahead of time so that I know to look for it. So that when it does happen to me, I don't have that lag time where I have a victim mentality and a setback, like, dusting myself off kind of thing. I want to get right to it. Acknowledge that I'm in a setback. All right, this is what's going on right now. All right, get ready. Get ready for launch, baby. That's the difference. And, proactiveness with it creates a lot of opportunity to surpass other people that have setbacks that get held up and delayed, and then you shoot right by them. And that's what it's all about. And so I haven't heard this concept put together like this before. And I just noticed it 3 years ago that this is what I'm doing. This makes too much sense. So I'm packaging it up now. I have a book coming out. I mean, I want to get this word out to people because I feel like now that I have something I know works for me, that I have to share it with other people. It's my duty to do that.
So you talk a lot about what are you made of, and that's the name of your podcast. And so tell people how'd you come up with that concept, and why did you name your podcast "What Are You Made Of"?
So I grew up a lot around a lot of broken people. I grew up where my mom and dad, like I'm the only child of them together, but I have seven brothers and sisters, right? But I'm the only one with the same parents. And despite being around all the people a lot, I felt like I was alone a lot of times. And so I'm in my own head. And if I needed encouragement or needed something, I'm either going to have to create it myself or I'm not going to get it. So I decided at a young age that talking to myself helps me. So I did a lot of self-talk, somehow naturally started talking to myself positive to build myself up. What are you made of is something that I used to say to myself all the time. I still do. I used to say things like, I'm built for this, man. Hey, you got this. Look what you've already accomplished. This is easy. And so I started doing that. And then I shared my story about my dad throwing in the towel on me when I was 11 years old, which I thought was an ordinary story. And, basically, just long story short, I told him that I wanted to leave his house after 3 years of living with him and going through a lot of psychological mental abuse as a kid with conflicts with child support, custody, step parents being involved, a lot of conflict. I needed to get out of that environment. And my mom filed court papers. I got out of that environment by him getting those papers one day. And he said, hey, says what you want to live with your mom. They're not very well off there. They don't have money like we have here. Are you sure you want to do that? Now, my dad was my hero. Like he was a mason, had his own business, big forearms, rough hands. I always looked up to him for being a hard worker. And he had this wad of $100 bills in his pocket with a rubber band around it. And I always said it was cool to me, right? So when he found out and I confirmed the fact that I wanted to leave there, he peels one of the $100 bills off, crumples it up and throws it at me and says, here, you're going to need this when you're living on the streets with your mother one day. And so right at that moment, that's where the fire was really lit. I'm like, you know what? No way, dude. This ain't happening. I know I'm right in this situation. And now stubbornness is what I have in me, can be a strength and a weakness, an asset and a liability. But in this case, it's a strength because I've said to myself, I'm not going to let you win. And I can usually, what I do is I'll go back to that. Anytime I'm in a tough time, like, dude, I can't let that happen. That ain't happening. I'm going to continue to go and see how far I can take this thing. So that's where it all stemmed from. And when I started sharing my story with people, which I thought was ordinary, they're like, dude, that inspires me, man. And I'm like, really? Like a lot of people come from broken homes and be giving up on me. Come on. That's ordinary. So I realized I didn't have to go to the moon and have a story about going to the moon to connect with people. So I shared the story and then I'm like, well, if it works for me, I might as well bring other people on and share their stories. And that's how it all came to play.
That's very cool.
Which you were on, by the way. You were on the show to share.
Yes. I had a blast on your show, man. And look, I mean, and to kind of, circle around to what you were talking about, do you notice that a lot of people that came from broken homes, they just spend their whole life being victims, just spend their whole life, poor me. Why is it me that was born with these parents and born in this neighborhood? And they spend the rest of their life blaming society for the problems that they have in their life when really it was a big chunk of it, 80% of it probably was their fault. I mean, do you see that?
Yeah. I was very fortunate when I left and I moved in with my mom that she had married another gentleman on her third marriage. Love her to death. We call her crazy mom. That's what the kids call her in an affectionate way. But she married a guy named George who was not very good with money as far as making money, but he was good at stretching money. And so George taught me right from wrong. Right at the right time, 11 years old, when I was getting ready into puberty, to become a man, he was there to tell me, look, this is what you do. Good things, you do good things happen. Do bad things happen. Keep it simple and you'll be good. And he had to whip my ass a couple times, not physically, but just like, I remember, here's a story. I don't think I've told this before, but I'm at a 6th grade dance. I'm 12 years old. And some girl, like, some girl was acting up or something, and I kicked her like in the leg, right? Not hard, just kicked her. And he saw me. He was chaperoning the dance, and he went over and he grabbed my neck and he pulled me out of the dance. And that was the most physical he ever got with me. But he said to me, he said, "Don't you ever, ever lay a hand on a woman, kick a woman. I don't care what they do to you. You never." And then, so this is an example. As a 12-year-old kid, I didn't know any better. I'm like, so little lessons like that, and basically put me on the right track. Then to understand that, hey, if you want to be in control of your life, you're responsible. You need to take control of it. You need to figure out things. Like, you can't blame other people for things. So what, that girl like did whatever she did. You're responsible for your reaction and how you take it, not her. Don't point fingers. And so that lesson right there gave me control of my life.
Hey, look, man, I got to jump in because that is just crazy that you said that, because I was in the 4th grade and there was this girl that and this is the funny thing she was saying. She called me little buff boy. That was the word. I'll never forget it my whole life. I'm 45 years old right now. I was probably, I don't know, 10, maybe 11, maybe. And she just kept rattling me and calling me these names. And I knocked her out. I mean, I punched her, and oh my God, my mom kicked the shit out of me when I got home. I mean, I got in trouble at school. I got the principal. I mean, I was like, and trust me, man, it's moments like that in your life that really get you thinking, look, man, that's just, they're just right and wrong. There's right things to do and there's wrong things to do. And that was a wrong thing for me to do. So I love that he taught you from a young age how not to be a victim of your circumstance, but to take responsibility and say, man, it's me. It's my fault. And I think I've been pretty decent at that throughout the years to do my best to, man, when I screw up, look, if I make a mistake, Mike, C-Roc, man, I mean, I'll tell you I made a mistake. And I'm the first one to apologize to you. I'm the first one to tell you I'm sorry. I'm the first one to make things right. And I think that's a huge reason why you're such a great leader. How important is it to have a great coach, man?
Well, before that though, let me just add something there. Cause take it a step further. Even if you don't make a mistake, what if somebody else makes a mistake? What if somebody in your life around you, everybody on the outside looking in at the situation would say, man, yeah, it was their fault. Yeah, you didn't do anything. But you take it and say, you know what? No, it was my fault. What could if I didn't do something different, like what could I have done differently to change the outcome? When you do that and take that next step to 100% responsibility, you gain control of everything. Your life is, so some people's ego won't let them do that. They're like, no, that person hit me. That person hit me, right? But no. What could I have done to change the situation? Because when you blame anybody else, even if you think and the outside thinks it's their world or their fault, guess what? You're not in control. And I talk a lot about whether you want to be the puppet or the puppet master, puppeteer. And nobody I've ever met wants to be the puppet. So that's just a little, but as far as coaching and mentoring, I will tell you that George, my stepfather, who I was just talking about, passed away in January 2019 of a sudden heart attack. And at that time, he was a mentor to me. I felt like, man, right away at first, I'm like, damn, this can't be happening. And I'm a 40 some years old at that time, I guess 41, something like that. I'm thinking, man, I guess the reins are past. It's my time to take up the torch. And at that moment, I realized that I don't know enough to take up the torch. I've been operating off of street smarts, man. And I started hitting a ceiling. And I'm like, man, something's stopping me here. And street smarts are the thing I think you need to start with. Like book smarts compared to street smarts, knowledge compared to street smarts. Street smarts is the hustle, the action, get you like going. Because if you can know everything and not take action and not go anywhere. So, but at some point with that street smarts, you hit a ceiling. And then you have to kick into knowledge and the coaching and the mentoring. So when George passed away, I ran into Grant Cardone. Now, say what you want about Grant. He's flashy, doing all this boasting, but he's a professional marketer. He's the king of that. And he knows what he's doing with that. Well, I ran into him right after my stepfather passed away. And that was the torch that, that's the person that needed to pick up the torch in my coaching and mentoring. So what I noticed with that is that I had that street smarts, and now I needed that mentoring, that coaching to guide me to bust through the next level, and then to be able to help people more. Because if I'm hitting the ceiling, I'm not going to be able to help people much. So it is imperative that you get some coaching and mentoring, because what'll happen is you skip steps. You can advance through mistakes that they made. You could speed up the process, and not only that, the people that you find that coach and mentor you, you actually, believe it or not, help them just as much as they help you. So very important.
Very, very important, man. I mean, and I know you talk a lot about being comfortable, being uncomfortable. And how do we get to that point? How do we get to that place where we can become comfortable being uncomfortable?
I think it's just repetition and doing it over and over again. And so that's what they say, being comfortable, being uncomfortable. The only way to get comfortable with something is to do it over and over again. But I'll give you a story this morning. I don't know if did I tell you about how I wake up one day a week early? Because I do some of these interviews. I'm sorry, but like this every Wednesday, I wake up 1 hour earlier and I go to the gym and train with a trainer 1 hour earlier than I usually do, just to keep myself off kilter a little bit. And every Tuesday night, I have the same exact conversation. The same. So I go, you don't need to get up early tomorrow. Call the trainer, text him. He'll understand. Just tell him you're not in the mood, man. You're good. You got too much going on. You're hurting, this and that. All these different things come through, man. So I just want to share this because I'm an ordinary guy that is able to overcome this. And I know everybody else that's listening to this deals with the same stuff. Most of you, though, do not win against that voice. So what I do is each week I will beat that voice down, and I pop up when my alarm goes off, or sometimes I don't even need the alarm. I just pop up because I'm ready to go. I've psyched myself up enough. And then I go attack the day, and I attack that workout, and like 7:00 instead of 8:00, I'm done my workout. And I'm like, yes, another win, another victory. So you do that over and over again, and it becomes old habit, and the voice still comes in there, but he's not as strong as he used to be. And so again, I'm like, what are you made of? The voices in my head. I'm crazy, man. It's just what happens. And I know a lot of people do it and they might deny it, but I acknowledge it and I just attack it, man.
Hey, man, we all get lazy. I don't care how successful you are. I don't care how much money you make. We all have those voices. I was doing my coaching, my Wealth on the Beach club coaching program this morning, and one of the guys was like, how do you overcome that feeling? And I want to get your answer here because, how you may have, talked to this guy of what you would have said, but he was like, how do you overcome that feeling, that negativity when you get to the end of the night and you did everything you were supposed to do? You worked hard, you made the calls, you contacted the clients, but nobody would set up an appointment. Nobody would do business with you. Everybody told you no. Like, how do you freaking get over that negative self-talk that's beating the shit out of yourself? How do you get over that? Because that goes on to a lot of people. And I know, come on, you've been in the sales business a lot of years, and salespeople go through that every single day.
Yeah, dude. Can you believe 98? I guess 98. So 22 years. Like I can't even like believe that. I still feel young. But look, here's the thing. So my team, what I do, I have 40 employees in the mortgage industry, and we're doing the same thing. But what we do every single day is we send an email out to the group. And if you're individual, you could do this yourself or get an accountability partner. But every single day we have an activity journal, and we look at our stats for the day and our activity, and we journal it and we share it out with the team. And then that way we can see what we did. We're held accountable. We feel like shit if we didn't do what we're supposed to do. If we did what we're supposed to do, we feel great. The results will come. Now, if you still continue to have the activity, but the results don't come, then you just have to do a self-reflect and reflect and correct. We take a look at, okay, 3 things. Am I putting in the work? Yes or no? Is my attitude right? Yes or no? And am I on the program? The program is, how do you go about pitching your product, demonstration of your product, whatever it is that you do. Am I on the program? It's either every single time, by the way, every single time it's either one of those things or all of them, or a combination of them. And that's what we do. And it's always, it always creates an opportunity. If you are very clear on how to fix things and you're clear on what you're doing throughout your day, it takes the anxiety out of it. I think the anxiety comes in and the negativity comes in when you're trying to make a decision or you're not doing something that you should be doing. And that's what that self-check does.
Yeah, I just remember all through the years telling my agents, like, look, man, do the things that you should be doing. And if you got up every day, you did the things that you should be doing, success is inevitable. Not overnight. Man, get rich quick schemes, they're all bullshit, man. Everybody knows it. I mean, inside your core, you know that you ain't doing all the shit you're supposed to be doing. At least most people, they know if they do that self-reflect, they know that they miss this and they miss this and they miss this. And, but I think too, another component of this is the competence level, right? Because I'm sure you train a lot, you train your guys a lot. And I think people try to shortcut this part of it too. They shortcut the competence because the confidence breeds confidence, and the confidence brings the results. So what do you say about training and how important is training?
Yeah, look, that's the third one. Am I on the program? Like if you're not training, you don't know what you're doing, you're not on the program, right? Which leads to the confidence, which is the attitude section. So it's very simple. I like to keep things simple, but we train every day, every single day. And not only that do we train, we role play with our team. Not a lot of people want to put in time and effort. And that's why you have people like Tom Brady. And then you have people like Ryan Leaf. If you guys remember, Ryan Leaf was a highly paid quarterback out of college and never made anything because he was not on the program. His attitude wasn't right. He wasn't putting in the work. It goes for sports too. So training and role playing and being just committed and dedicated. Now, the reason people don't do it, Daniel, here's the reason. They don't have a goal and vision that excites them enough. Whatever they set out for themselves, first of all, a lot of people don't even know what they want. They don't even set a vision or goal. That's one problem. Two, if they do, that doesn't move the needle for them. Like you got to have something that moves the needle, man, that you're willing to like sacrifice time, energy, money, other things you want to do out of your life to get to where you're going. And that changes everything. That's why people don't do it. That's the only reason. There's no other reason. It's very simple. And so start thinking bigger, start changing your vision and goals to make it exciting and moving the needle. And, that's so Grant talks about this all the time, intention versus counter intention. Are your counter intentions bigger and stronger than your intentions? And if they are, you're not going to achieve your goals. So I like to keep things simple, brother.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes so much sense. And I think that people are way overthinking the process of success because we don't realize that, like, come on. I mean, where you came from, I don't know, how extensive was your education, your public and college education? Did you graduate college?
No, I was a 4.0 student and I dropped out with 13 classes left.
Oh, really? Okay. In college, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So why did you drop out?
I was just not engaged. I was done. I was ready to go out into the world and make money. And this is what to me, I didn't see the value of it anymore. And, I just decided to do that. I don't regret it whatsoever. I have people that work with me and work for me now that have college degrees. So I think what I talked about before, street smarts versus book smarts. That street smarts is what you need. And I had that to take action and go after it. And then I, added this knowledge in later. So I'm not encouraging people to do that. I think the social aspect of being at college was cool and helpful. But that's basically it.
Hey, man. Look, man, I'm kind of not the opposite, but I believe in what you just said. I do encourage it, man. I think I think more people need to quit college, right? I mean, if you're listening right now to my voice or watching this on YouTube right now, I'm just quit college if it's not serving you well. I mean, if it's serving you well and you want to be a doctor or you want to be, an accountant or you want to do something that requires a college degree, fantastic, stay in college. But if it's not, look, I quit college, same reason. I remember I was playing baseball at a little community college and I hurt my knee real bad. And I ended up quitting college because I said to myself, number one, they don't pay me enough money for this shit, right? I'm tired of getting yelled at by the coach and they're not paying me any money. Now you can yell at me all day long as you pay me well. You can yell at me all day long, but I said, I'm done with this, man. And I just knew, I knew that most of the stuff that they're teaching in colleges right now is outdated 6 months from now anyways. And most of the stuff they're teaching in college, they learned 6 years ago. And so I think colleges are outdated. I think it's a waste of time for most people. And I say most people. Some of you are going to love it and it's going to be great for you, but most of you quit thinking that a little piece of paper is going to help you become successful, because you're watching and listening to two people right here. We do not have the piece of paper, and we've made millions and millions and millions of dollars because of that. And to me, I think it's because of that. I think if I would have stayed in college, it would have hurt me, in my opinion.
I would rather take money that I spent in college and go and talk to a billionaire or somebody that's got, the $100 millions of companies, and go and pay them to be mentored by them. That's what I would rather do with it, and spend the time there. And then, you're going to get a lot of quicker results from it.
Absolutely. So. Absolutely, man. Hey, look, was there ever a time, because I know you've built a very successful lending business. Was there ever a time that you wanted to quit, man? Because did you go through hard times? Did you ever kind of go through that adversity period of your building your business?
Yeah. So I had a company that we were working with, and we built up to $10 million in revenue. And then we didn't stick with the culture, and the leaders of that company and owners of that company. Again, I take responsibility. Somebody on the outside might say, man, you work for, some crazy people. I take responsibility because I put up with it. So I had 22 employees at the time, and we went through a phase where we basically had over $1 million skimmed from us. And the culture of the company was terrible. And when things got to a situation where an individual in the company had a decision to make, they always chose themselves, to the point where they would throw people like to the wayside to save themselves, kind of thing. And we got out of there. I took the 22 employees and then put them on my shoulders and said, hey, we're going to go find another place. We're going to make culture our number one priority. And so I never thought about quitting. No, not quitting what my mission was. But we took these 22 employees. They went with us. We started with culture. We lost some of the employees because they didn't buy into the culture, which was fine. We established that I made it very clear that, look, I'll go down to me and my partner and by ourselves, and we'll start fresh with the right culture, if that's what it takes. But otherwise, if you stay on the ship, we're going to go places. And so, yeah, we lost. Instead of going to legal and all that, lawsuits and all that, because to me, the law doesn't work fast enough. I decided to convert rocket fuel, and I basically took it on my shoulders to make our group go and blow that other company out of the water, so that we were doing, just in our group, more volume than that company was as a whole. And that they would constantly see me all the time out on social, out in articles and all these things, because that's a better accomplishment to me than to do that, so that person has to constantly see that all the time. And so this is just I'm not resentful. I don't want revenge. I just want to use it for my success. And so that's what we did. And now we went from, we increased our business 800% with that fuel. And so, and then we're changing lives. Like, all of our employees that work for us are making more money than they've ever made in their life. And that's what I get up for in the morning, man. And so I never felt like quitting, but we've had adversity. We've had setbacks. And to the point, by the way, me and my partners were working for 6 months on minimum wage to make sure our employees were paid and to build this thing out. And it sucked, man. I was burning, like, I burned the ship mentality. I raised credit card, like whatever it took. I didn't care. Like, I was like, I'm going to pay it back. If it doesn't work, I never had to declare bankruptcy before. Never had bad credit. If it doesn't work, I'm going to give it my all, and I might have to wash it out later on. And that worked for us. And now we're making money. Everybody's making more money than they ever did. It sucked. I went through some very, very bad, dark times thinking about it. But the feeling that I have now, where we are now, man. So it it was harder than I could ever imagine to go through something like that. But the feeling that we have now is better than I could ever imagine. So.
Oh, that's good stuff, man. I just think that the people that are listening and watching, they always have to recognize that as good as you think people are, and as especially the social media era that we're living in, they always got to recognize that everybody has problems, man. Everybody has issues. Everybody goes through adversity. Everybody has their own sets of challenges. And we got to recognize that when you're going through that, I think the best thing to do is to remember that the most successful people on the planet, they went through shit too. And so it's kind of like you're going to have to eat shit for a little while until you get to where you want to go. And if you're not willing to taste that shit, right? I mean, you're probably not going to make it, because I never see, I don't, it's very rare that I see people, it's always just a straight line and everything's just perfect. And they never go through challenges, right? You know what I mean?
I hate to say this, but you need to crave shit, man. That's your fuel. Right. You're shoveling shit in the tank, man. Shoveling shit in the tank. And once you become that way, you're like, this ain't that bad, man. This ain't that bad. You know, Jay Shetty said something the other day. I was listening to Jay Shetty and he said, he was a monk for 3 years. And he realized when he was a monk, they would meditate for 8 hours a day, but he realized how little you could actually survive on. And when he did that, it made him realize I could take a lot of risk. Because I could survive on very little. What's the worst that can happen? And so that hit me. I'm like, you know what, man? I'm going to go hard and see how far we can take this. And what's the worst that can happen? I got to do it again. And so, yes, I love that, man.
Good stuff, man. Hey, so look, just kind of, as we kind of start wrapping this thing up, I mean, when you look at, leading and leadership, and you talked a little bit about what you do with your guys as far as a leader, but how important is it to lead from the front, to actually do it first, like to do the things that, your people are going to have to go through first, but you have to lead from the front no matter what. How important is that little concept?
So there's a guy named Scott Mann, and he did a story. I think he wrote a book. He was special forces. He went over to Afghanistan and was working with the villagers and against the Taliban. And he wrote a book about leading from the rooftop, or leading from the roof. And basically these guys would go into the village and the villagers weren't wanting to fight against the Taliban. Our guys went in and said, hey, listen, we're going to fight. We're going to go up to the roof and fight every single day. As long as you want us here, you don't have to come up there and fight with us, but we're going to keep doing it. We're going to just keep doing it. And they did it. And they would go up to the roof, fight. They would carry the casualties back down. Sometimes there would be loss of life. And then they do it the next day. And the Afghan villagers would watch this. And then very slowly but surely, one villager at a time would go up that day and fight with them. And so that concept, that psychological concept, he brought back to the United States. I read that. And when I started this new platform with our company, I showed that to my team, prior to reading Scott Mann's thing. I said the same thing to him. Guys, I'm going to do this with or without you. You're going to watch and sit back, and you're either going to come with me or not. And I started doing that. And then the psychological part of it, amazed me when I read his story later on. I'm like, holy cow, I just experienced this. They start coming in. And then what happens is the other guys see the other guys starting to get on board. And then it becomes a momentum snowball effect. And it's very powerful. It's a psychological thing in general that you need to do. And I think you always need to have the confidence to know that if everybody left, like in your industry right now, if everybody left, dude, I can do it. I'm good. And I think if that's part of that leadership is understanding that and having that confidence.
And so what's going on COVID, man? I mean, how are you guys dealing with it? You guys still showing up to the office? Are you guys hunkering down in your basement? What are you guys doing, man?
So we had already been working remote because we have 6 or 7 offices. I don't even know now. 6 offices. And so we worked remote anyway from the offices, and some people work from home already. Our company was very good with that. Nations Lending did a great job in having people working remote ahead of time so that we could get the best talent through all over the country and not just in our geographic branch locations. So it was a very easy transition for us. And so we're jamming. There's some people working back in the office, but overall, man, we set 3 record months during COVID, and I'm very thankful and blessed, but it's a mindset. The other thing is blaming people's a problem for me, but also I don't have a problem taking credit when we did a good job either. Some people get too humble. I think that you really need to take credit sometimes when your team does a great job that, hey, we did the right thing, man, and use it as a confidence builder. So yeah, we're not hunkered down. We're taking precautions, and we respect others that have a little bit more conservative approach to COVID and how to handle things. But we're just running, man.
That's it. That's all you can do, man. You just keep moving forward no matter what. Some people are going to jump on that bandwagon. Some people aren't, but man, the leaders, they just decide they're going to do it with or without you, and they're going to win. And it's almost like for me as well, as I never wanted to get left behind. I wanted to continue to work hard, to master my craft, to get great at what I was doing, because I didn't want to get left behind, because I knew that the leaders were going to go win. And I've been telling everybody forever, the leaders make all of the money. And if I become a leader, if I become that person that people can trust and rely on, probably be good long range for me. Hey, Mike or C-Roc, how do we get a hold of you, man? There's a lot of people right now that they're going, I like this dude, man. He's a stud. He's a winner. You give great coaching to a lot of different people right now. How do they get in touch with you, man?
Instagram's the best way. It's my favorite platform. And if you DM me, I'll answer my DMs. I look forward to engaging with people. It's at Mikey C-Roc, MikeyCroc, at Mikey C-Roc. And I'm going to be, this book's coming out soon, and I'm going to be putting out the cover reveal here soon. And I'm going to be going on live on Instagram Live. I'd love to engage with everybody. So just be on there, follow me, engage with me, and I want to help you. So yeah, that's where it is, man. And by the way, I'm already working on a digital training platform that's going to transform the mortgage industry, as well as it has the rocket fuel package in there as well to talk about the concept of rocket fuel. So we're looking forward. We're working on that, my team and I, right now, and just so fired up and excited, man.
Man, you're giving away so much amazing content and value. I just want to let you know, as one of your new friends, I appreciate you, man. And I'm very proud of you. And you are really one of those guys that I get up in the morning, I try to go follow and watch. So I want to encourage everybody watching this on YouTube or listening to this on the Wealth on the Beach podcast to check out C-Roc and engage with him, follow him, share this podcast, share this YouTube video, and get it out to as many people as possible. Look, let's change some lives, and let's make sure that we think a little bigger, dream a little bit bigger, work a little bit bigger, and ultimately get after it and do it now. God bless you. Thank you for listening and watching.
I appreciate you, Daniel.
We will see you soon, and we will see you at the top.